Okay, we should be live now.
I think. Let me see. Yeah, it says that I think that everybody it says that yeah. Yeah, I
Yes,
think it's okay.
we are live. We are live.
Yeah.
I would like to say hello, everybody, but I don't see any people watching yet. But as this podcast is going to stay, just if you participate live in this or in my future podcast, which will be held on Wednesdays. So keep in mind that when you're watching a live podcast, you have an opportunity to give live questions and get your answer right away from the person, communicate with us, and that's how it could be more fun. But as this podcast is going to stay, it's not going to be only live and that's it. So we can start talking, and whoever joins us, they can watch podcast from the beginning anytime they want. So, hi Santiago.
Hi guys, how are you? A pleasure
I'm
to be
good.
here
I'm
with
good.
it.
I'm good. I see you have a nice shelves behind you. I don't have so good yet. Mine is closed, and if I open, it won't be looking so good as yours. But I'm having a dream. So, guys, I
little
would
by
like. Sorry.
little by little.
Yeah, little by little, exactly. I have some. You see. Wait,
I
there.
I, I
Couple
can
caps.
barely
Yeah, couple caps I put. Okay, guys. So I would like to introduce my guest today for you. And today I'll be having a conversation with my good friend Santiago Vazquez. Santiago is a bartender, and we will know about his bartending career, pathway, and all ups and downs today. And I met Santiago by coming to America. So I'm really grateful for this person because he believed in me when I came to America and didn't have here any connections and anybody knew me as a bartender. Because in my country, I used to be pretty good and more or less people knew me and my skills. But here in America, it was totally different. So I'm really grateful for Santiago because he really believed in me and he gave me a job, and that's how everything started. And Santiago has a lot of years of experience. I think it's 20 years. Yeah, am I right, Santiago?
Yeah, 22 around.
22 is it's so much. Some of people who will be watching this podcast are not are not that old yet. I believe, because it depends in which country. In America you can 21, but in Lithuania I think you can work in bars from 18. And anyway, so it might be minors who can work in the bar already, but still younger than Santiago's career. And I know that Santiago had a really how to say interesting path and way in his bartending. And of course 22 years, it's quite a lot. And now he's living in Miami, but originally Santiago comes from Colombia. So I'm not going to tell anything else because I don't know much. I mean, I can't tell so good as Santiago can. So hi Santiago, once more. And I would like to ask you, so how did this 22-year career started? Let's get back 22 years back, and you was, standing somewhere or like whatever, and you just, how did this idea pop in your head? Just tell me
It,
the beginning.
it is curious because I really think that mostly, especially in, I don't know exactly in your country, now that in Europe it's a little bit more like a career. Latin America, especially 20 years or 22 years ago, it wasn't.
It's
Definitely,
the same in
exactly.
Lithuania. Now it's better, but I mean, 22 years ago, it definitely wasn't.
Exactly. I think the last 10 years
Yeah,
especially changed a lot. The people start seeing us in a better way.
yeah,
Before the people used to ask you where you want to be. When you are working a bartender and you want to be bartender, the people doesn't understand it.
yeah,
And so even for the families wasn't like pretty understanding. It's like this is like a part-time job, or he's on the time that he pays the school or something like that. That is, I think it's very normal in all the countries that we work to pay our schools or
yes,
college or university. So yes, the thing is, I think, and I always said with some friends that you don't choose the bar pretty much choose you. You just start, you try it, and for some reason you can stay, you can leave it actually. So I started just on the house. My father used to have bars long time ago, like two bars, very small in an
Oh,
island, long time ago. And
okay.
he never tried to push me on this way. It wasn't his idea. His idea was he used to do a international commerce, like commodities and all that stuff. But of course, you know the history of your father. And of course, during the family reunions, he did some cocktails sometimes for some of the ladies of the house, my aunties, my
Yeah.
mom, everything. And I look at it and I learn a little bit, just very, very basic, classic Cuba Libre, how to really make it, margaritas, maybe piña colada, maybe one more or two. Well, he used to drink martini, so I learned to drink martini pretty young actually.
Oh, okay.
And
The
he
original one.
always, yeah, he always was a drinker of whiskey. So he teach me mostly basics, but not to be on the bar, just general culture.
Yeah.
And with the time, I start like some reunions of the family. I did some drinks, and then when I go on the college, I realized that it could be a good option to have some private events or something where I can do the drinks. So mostly on that time on my city, it was more like very, very eventually that somebody says like, "Hey, I have a party and hey, we are looking for somebody to help us." And even our mothers are like, "Ah, my son can go and help you." It's more like you don't do very much nothing. You're there stand up and you serve whiskey on ice, rum on ice, rum and coke, and that's
Yeah,
it.
pretty much anybody can do.
Exactly, yeah. But so it was an extra box and it worked. So I didn't start like doing like regularly until I started on the college. Then I started doing like more private events in Colombia, and then for another reasons we moved to Panama, in Central America. And then I realized that at that time we have some struggling, so I decided that I really need like a job. My father was helping me with this college, was pretty heavy, so I decided to I'm gonna do like a real job. And fortunately, for some friends that you just met around, somebody told me like it's a chance to work in a new club that is going up, and you want to try. And so I'm like, yeah, I know the basics. And actually I had at home a few old, uh, small, like kind of like a cocktail menus on
Hmm.
home that had some measurements. So I read the basics, like I told you, like margarita, martini, Manhattan, two, three, four, five drinks that everybody knows. And at that time, that was end of the 90s, beginning of the 2000s. The cocktail scene wasn't like it's right now. So the people used to do, yeah, or classic, very classic drinks, or very high volume drinks that actually was pretty easy to learn. Long Island, something the bad bar Thai, not the good one, the bad one from the nightclubs, and Sex on the Beach and things like that. Um, so this friend gave me a chance, and he also helped me to give me some speeches because he was working as a server in a restaurant and a chain. So he gave me some stuff like, "Hey, come to my restaurant, and I show you from the bar a little bit how this made."
So how
So
old
I
were
go.
you at the time?
At that time, I was 18, 19.
Okay.
I started like an 18 with the private events. On the nightclub, I started like at 20. Exactly.
Oh,
In my country, the same as in Europe. At 18, you can drink, you can do everything. Here, at 18, you can sell and serve, but you cannot drink. It's
yeah.
kind of rare, but yeah. So mostly they start at 21. But in my country, you can start early. So I start 18, 19 with the most the events, and then at like around 20, I jump in a night in my first big nightclub. So that
That was
point,
in Panama, yes, as I
yeah,
understand.
and
Okay.
at that point, I need to do bar back and bartender. So you need to do pretty much at that point in South America, this wasn't any developed. So you need to do pretty much everything. You cook your limes, you refill your fridges, you do everything. Even in that time, just like big companies had systems like computers, like nowadays we all know micros,
Yes.
square, everything. No, that time was 180 on a cashier, or you carry your own money. That's pretty much the idea. Was a nightclub. So I learned the basics, and I go for the training on nightclub. That, fortunately, I was already meeting a guy that has not so was 1 year experience. It was a good experience at that point on the bar, and we make a good friendship, and we can work together. And especially I think because age, I was like, oh, I want to work in a nightclub. This is nice. Of course, that's the thing. I've seen a cocktail.
Mm-hmm.
So you imagine your face, nightclub. I'm gonna be like Tom Cruise. You
Oh,
really believe it. Even if you look terrible, yeah, you look like, oh, we're gonna make it. So cocktail was a big influence for all my generation. Mostly all the bartenders that from that kind of old school, we get very pushed by it. Cocktail movie was a movie that really pushes to jump in. So we all start trying to do some flair, and we just did a very, very simple cocktails. At that point, we didn't never use pretty much any fresh at the bars. The only fresh fruits that we had was lime, and Latin America sometimes lemon and oranges, and that's it. Sometimes pineapple,
okay.
sometimes, but it's mostly for the garnish. Not you don't model, you don't do anything. That time, not even mojito was famous. Was like nobody pretty much knows that. So you just use that as a garnish. And the bartenders that has more experience, they do flair.
Yes.
We use our barbacks to catch the bottles that they throw. It was actually a pretty dangerous work. I was throwing, they fall one, and you need to avoid the bottle coming and pick it up because you was the younger one, you was the new one.
Was they working with helmets? No.
No, that was the worry part. At some point, I have some hair, not so much, so it covers me a little bit more.
Yeah.
But yeah, was a kind of experience. I realized that I really enjoyed a lot the thing about the service. More in that time was more the service was the connection with your customers. Start realizing that you can have regulars, even in a nightclub. A person that goes every week to party, sometimes with the same girlfriend, sometimes with different girls, sometimes
You
group
can count how many different.
yeah, sometimes a group of boys that they used to come to some of them in Panama, they used to be part of uh, they used to have the United States there controlling the army. So some of them jump a lot to come and study, sometimes here English or at least one semester of their careers, and they come back. They come back with the ideas that they see here. The problem is that I think that maybe you start, how long ago you start on the
I
bartending?
started 11 years ago, I think.
11. So
Yeah.
you're gonna see this. If you remember, at that time, I don't know how it was on Lithuania, but for us in Latin America, you cannot find pretty much so much information. Not so much books, pretty much nothing. Magazines, pretty much in existence. And maybe you find, so what I do is we ask for these kids that actually they became our friends because they come very often to the club. There was very wealthy people. They come and they ask me, hey, I'm going for the next 2 months to Miami. So we said like, hey, when you come back, can you bring me menus? Menus? Yeah, yeah, menu for any bar that you go, any restaurant, whatever you find. Okay.
So
So when
now
we
the restaurants know where those menus were gone.
yeah, we can get in big trouble. So
I
actually,
think it's already a long time past.
yeah,
No.
yeah. Actually, at some point, it was funny because we did our own recipe. We used to do cards. Everybody used to have it. I don't know if you know, like memo cards. We
Mm-hmm.
used to do our recipe books was a memo cards with a case like this, and you have it in alphabetic order, so you can look faster if you
Mm-hmm.
need to. If you, Mr. Isis, come and ask you for an old fashioned, at that point you don't know any idea what the fuck are you talking about. So you go around and you look on the back. You look like if you are looking your bottle, like, oh yeah, I'm looking for this, and then you look very fast and you look fast the receipt, and then, oh, you turn and you like nobody realized that you don't know any idea about what you're doing. So most of those receipts that we have was steal from the regular menus from other places. So at some point in my house, I used to have a menu from Fridays, a menu from Benningham's, a menu from Hooters, all the big franchises.
Yeah.
They and with my friend, we love the idea of drink experience at the beginning. So part of that was make not like a show, but it make it look like we really enjoy what we are doing and make you happy as a guest. So what we must do is very really enjoy this behind the bar. We just play around. We was like two kids in a park. We just throwing out ice, throwing bottles. If something falls, everybody laugh. We try to put a fire on the bar. We do whatever we see on movies, whatever we see on anywhere. We try to reply. So then you learn your first tricks with ice,
Definitely.
with some shakers, something like that. And we finally, I don't remember who find some videos about the first times that Christian Lopez was competing outside. It was
Just
mind blowing. Like,
you read my mind.
yeah, like wow, how these guys do that with that bottle? So it was really easy moves, but for us it was crazy. It was style on the first stalls on the hand, first style on the arm. Everything was very crazy. So we were trying that very often. We don't have at that point the access to Flerco or any of these nice brands that has bottles. So we need to save all the bottles from the weekend to break it during the week. Yeah, trying to we break a lot of bottles, like thousands. Also, a lot of them we could it, we fall on our heads. I have a scar here because somebody throw a bottle and hit it here. Yeah, that's crazy.
Oh, yeah.
It's
So what? Okay.
no,
Okay. Okay.
was a very nice uh, way to start because it makes me realize how much I enjoy make the other people laugh and enjoy the time. Not just come for the drink, serve the drink. You can do a very good service on that. Like, hey, how are you, Mr. This? This is your drink. Thank you very much. You can be very polite, very constant in your service, everything, but that doesn't make the real experience. The experience was always like you get the drink and you throw the lime, and the lime sometimes go drink, sometimes fall in my head, and the people just laugh. The times that I always been like short of her. At that point, I have some, but not so much. So you always catch the biggest bill that you have on the tips. At that point, wasn't so much five, and the best case, a millionaire at 20. So you drip it in water and you stand up on here on your head. The people love that thing. It's stupid, but it loves it.
I
And
know that trick.
yeah, make the people laugh and enjoy was maybe the thing that much catch me to jump in the bar. To really realize that I really want to do this. Anyways, as I told you, and the family and the friends around there are always asking you, okay, what you gonna do later? And that's maybe the main thing about what we was thinking to talk on today. I don't know. I think pretty much all of us has an degree or close in something. Some of us start the university, and some of them finish, and some of them not. I did advertising and marketing. I practiced for a little while in different things. I tried to do some freelance. Of course, it was very small, not so much money, very difficult. And then if you want, in that time, if you want to jump in the big leagues on advertising, you need to be with a big league company that was McLaren Ericsson, Coca-Cola, or something like big like that.
Mm-hmm.
Besides of that, was a very tough career to follow. Wasn't funny. They don't pay so much. This was more fun. This was more interesting. I love advertising. I can't believe it. Still today, I see some commercials and I tell me, oh, I would love to do something like that. But it was a point that you don't know. So during that time, trying to practice advertising, I did a lot of things in my life, like everything, especially because as I became immigrant, you lost your frame for pretty much everything. I think most of you need to know right now that maybe on your country because you're IST's son of uh, your mother or your father names, or because your friends know it, you try to stay in some level. And I don't know in Lithuania, but in my main country in Colombia, the companies uh, keep people mostly like you only can have this job, you only can work for here, and they don't allow you to grow so much. The people grows believing that you need to grow in a company, so you need to wait the 20, 25, 40 years to go in a high level. So some of us they are more like, I can say, not on the same square, start thinking that is another way to go up, like do your own business, figure out. As
Mm-hmm.
my father was a freelance on business, I learned that you can do your things for yourself. I don't
Mm-hmm.
know how it in Lithuania. It works pretty much the same. In,
Eh, in Lithuania is
I cannot hear you. Let's see.
Hello? Can you hear me?
I cannot hear you. I don't know what it is.
Can you hear me? I lost your sound. Let me see. Can you hear me?
No, I have you here on the live on my phone, and I cannot hear you. No, I have you here on the live on my phone, and I cannot hear you. No, I have you here on the live on my phone, and I cannot hear you. Let's see. Let's see. Nice. Try to unplug your AirPlugs.
um,
There you are. There you are. There you are. I got it.
you hear
Yeah, once I hear. Yeah, now I hear you. I think
that?
it's your.
And now?
Now, perfect. There you are.
Okay, okay, because this is better, I guess. Whew, I thought all these technical things.
Technical issues.
So
Okay.
In Lithuania
I
is
was yeah,
a
how
little
it works there.
a little bit different, I think, because people move, and now it's more often. Maybe some time ago, people used to keep on one job for long and grow there, and we start and they go to the pension the same job. But already for the last 10 years, I think it's changed, and people like they grow a little bit in one place. When we feel that we did everything, we move to somewhere else, except those people who just stay in one job for all life because they don't want to grow. They are comfortable, but it's I think it's a bit different. Maybe it's different continents, different cultures as well, definitely, because it should.
The thing that I think is, well, mostly your 10 years you're very young. In the last 10 years, you see most of this globalization about everything. So I think the people start thinking more global way. So that make
Mhm.
it more like in go outside and see what is happening around. On my time of before, you was used to think more in your countries and not big to stay there. Or if
Definitely.
you go out for traveling, I had the pleasure that my father has a good times and he take me few times to Europe and a few times to States. So it opens me my mind a little bit. But
Okay.
I think the other thing is, well, I don't remember exactly most of the history about your country, but I think we have the same problem that we live in countries that has very big internal issues about security, wars, and things like that, and that also push you to go out. The people that stays on inside that bubble that the government creates for you and that you don't grow. But the ones that we can go out, we need to explode outside. And now, well, I was going on that point. It's exciting that you, when you start going out of your country, you realize that you can do more things. It's like it's not like, yeah, you used to. I study advertising, so I want to work on advertising. Or maybe if my family or friend has a kind of business, you go on that way, sales, something like that. But when you go out, you realize that you don't have any barrier in your mind. Or some of us we break that thing and we start doing whatever to survive and go ahead.
Yes.
So I realized, I when I started getting in love with the bar, I realized my knowledge, what I learned in the college about the advertising, it was
Yes.
very useful.
Yeah.
With the time it grows, with the time it grows more. Yeah, at some point I studied to sell this or this or this on a commercial. What
Yes.
I cannot do it on person to you. If you sit on my bar, what I cannot do the same. If
Yeah.
I can, if I think that I can convince you to buy it through a TV, why I cannot do it in person? If in person I also can show the product and talk more to you. At that point, I used to work in restaurants, nightclubs, so it was very different approach, and it's nice because nightclubs is more like pushing, selling to sell whatever the people want. That's it. The restaurants they give you the time to talk, and that teach you a lot about how to jump in a person, how to introduce a person, in some steps of service. Nowadays, that they don't do that thing. I think in my time, you go to work in a big chain like Fridays, Bennigan, Hooters, whatever that like that. Well, Hooters, you and me, we cannot work at Hooters, but we know work, especially now. The other ones that I used to work, they give you like two or three things that you need to do. Like for us, was mandatory to every day on the pre-shift before work know at least three or five the main themes on the that day newspaper or the week, like the main stories of the day, like what happened yesterday on Middle East, what happened with the football. You need to know at least something about the sports,
Mm.
something about the economy. You don't need to know or read the whole, but you need to have an idea. So your manager comes and asks you, um, give me a what happened today on economics. So you need to know at least that bank, whatever is selling. That's it. You don't need to know more. Why? And it was a very, very, very good lesson for me about service and many things. But that when you have people on the bar, you guys can be interested in whiskeys, but the other one on the side maybe comes from work and he's thinking about the whatever. Another one maybe likes the sports. And actually, like personally, in my country, everybody's football, soccer. I'm not going to, but I need to know at least the basics. I need to know who team wins or who team plays.
Yes.
That's it. And then with that, you start the relationship with your guest or your client, and then you develop the sale. But the people try mostly come and attack you, like, what are you gonna drink? And you said old fashioned, and they attack you directly with the kind of whiskey that you need to drink. I rather to see what are you like. Oh, this guy is wearing a tequila hat. So even if you don't want to drink tequila, maybe I can go, oh, nice hat, Herradura. Oh, very nice tequila, blah, 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 and start developing a relationship before trying to sell you. If I win your confidence, I think you're going to make it better. So in my country, we grow going out, and when I go out, I realize that I can do so many things that I wasn't not exactly in that square that I cannot go out. I was studying advertising, but I didn't know if that's gonna work. So I started working in whatever I found. So I did many things. Many. I work in pretty much, I don't know, maybe 20 different subjects at least on my life, at
Oh,
least. Different behind besides the bar. Like
yeah,
I sell pens for a while. One guy comes to me and like they was doing, those pens and notebooks that comes with the brand of your company. So
yes.
you sell insurance, and so I need to go for your company, insurance company, and say like, hey, I can do your pen with your logo here, and you can give it to your customer, so he's gonna be happy, and you can use it. That's annoying. I hate that job. I need to do it. The thing that I always think, and I maybe feed on what we are talking about this today, is that the people doesn't realize that most of what you can learn in your life, it can work for your future. The people say like, "Well, Santiago, how it can be good that you sell oil and filters for motorcycles and cars in your bar?" And that was another thing that I did for a while. I used to sell grease for 18-wheel trucks. So like how that works in the bar is another kind of customers that also go on drinks. It's another way to approach because they teach you that do you sell this can of oil for your truck, it's not like I'm selling alcohol that I can tell you, oh, it tastes good. No, with you and me, we don't know that we don't want to try how the oil tastes. But if I know the technical part, I can convince you in that way. So that one's another thing that it teach me like, okay, if I know the person maybe is a very technical person, maybe he doesn't follow the nice brand or the nice bottle on the whiskey, but maybe he follows the technical issues. So if I know that that whiskey is 70% malted barley and 10% rye and something like that, oh, that's because maybe your mind works more in the technical facts.
Yes. Yes.
So that was another lesson. I work in construction in many levels. I mix the cement, I put the bricks, and I also go at the point to be like a construction manager in a small construction, like rebuilding a house and things like that. It's
Mhm.
like what for what that can help you. It teach me a lot for when I go to do consulting in the bars. Most of the bars they hire architects that they know a lot about architect, but they don't have any idea about the functionality of a bar. And you, as a good bartender that you are, you know that spaces are very important there. The bar is
Yes.
very small, and you need to fit everything.
And
It has
comfortably.
exactly, and it's like it's like Tetris. You remember Tetris, the game that the bricks?
Yes, yes, yes.
Hey, if you don't fit the parts in the right way, it makes a big mistake. It happens to me that I jump in a consulting long time ago, and when I go outside, the bar was amazingly beautiful. It was a new bar in a hotel. They rebuilt it totally, and the bar was designed for one of the best architects in the city at that point. It was amazingly beautiful. But when I jump in, it was a mess. The manager of the hotel, he doesn't understand my upset. He's like, what happened? It's like, this doesn't, it's beautiful outside, but inside doesn't work for nothing. I'm like, why? All the pipes, all the connections was in the wrong place. So, of course, the architect doesn't like that you, as a bartender that isn't supposed to be a real profession at that point, give it directions until you can prove it that you are right. Because the first thing that they're gonna tell you is, look, it can be done. And so at that point, I told him, like, I used to work in a construction, so I know it can be done. You just need to deviate this pipe that you made it wrong to this side and made it to this side. Oh, you're gonna need to break your wall. It's your fault. It's not my fault. You cannot charge the manager of the hotel, my client, because your fault. It makes you be more proper in your ways to talk because you have more technical experience,
Yes.
and also it makes you more respectable. Simple. The guy cannot go to you because he realized that at least on the basics you have the knowledge you need to. You don't need to know exactly if you're gonna use 3 inches or 1 inch pipes. That's your problem. That's your technical side. But I can know that I need water here, electricity here, and this like this.
Yes. 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 Yes.
So I think that the maybe the best lessons that I learned in my life that was that I can learn from everything in jumping from this that we are like I stayed in Panama for a long time because my mom and father was there. I was taking care of them. Now I still have my father there. My mom passed away, but now I jumped to here. And when I came to here, I wasn't so young. I would love to have be as young as you when I came to the States. I think the time here flies in a good way. You can really you maybe you see you have here like almost
Sorry,
almost a year here. You are
me?
here almost a year.
Oh, yeah. In September, it'll be a year.
Okay, well, I
Birthday.
don't
One
know if you.
birthday.
For me, I the last 5 6 years was very successful in a personal professional way. I realized that I can do even some of the jobs that you don't like. You can do it with a great attitude if you have your goal clear. It happens that the people tell me like how you do it to do something that you don't like and don't get very upset. It doesn't mean that you don't get very upset, but every morning when I go for a job that I don't like it happens when I came to the States, I start washing bathrooms and washing dishes. As you said, the difference is exactly you can be very good in your country, but when you come here, if nobody knows you, you are much nobody. It happens to me.
Definitely.
When I came from the Panama to here, I was already been on the World Cup bartending, and I was already have a few competitions on my resume. I was already been a manager, director of operations. And when I came to here, nobody cares that
How
because
long
they
ago did you come to America?
um
How long ago did you came to America? 6 years
uh,
ago?
years.
6 years. Okay.
Yeah, in when I came, I was pretty recent on my championship. Actually, being here, I go back one time to El Salvador to give a training. The name of the Finlandia Vodka School. I
Hmm.
was the preparation for the World Cup, and I was the judge for the Finlandia Vodka Cup for that year on El Salvador. They
No.
was doing local because they stopped doing the World Cup that the year that I was the last one. So they was trying to make one more. At the end, they don't make it, but they made some local competitions. I was the judge, and I did the Finlandia Vodka School was a series of seminars during a big fair that they have on the country. So in the capital, so it was like 3 days of seminars for different stuff like media, cake, schools for chefs and everything, and bartending schools, and prime customers or key accounts. So I did that, and I come back, and even that I did that, I was that wasn't my first job. I was washing bathrooms and dishes for pretty much nothing an hour. I asked my boss for a week of permit to go on a trip. I explained this something outside. He let me. I go, not first class, but almost business. Very nice time. Giving seminars 1 week. They pay me very nice. I come back and I come back and the next day, boss, at what time is start? Okay, at 8 a.m. I was at 8 a.m. again washing dishes and washing bathrooms. It doesn't change until the time that you can show some experience, and then they start realize how much experience you have before. After a few months, they start asking me, okay, let me know what do you know about bars. Then I can start showing and developing what I was doing.
Yep.
But even those jobs that are not exactly the most attractive ones, I realized that the main thing was my mindset every morning. Every morning, my mindset was, I think you need to go on the steps. Your goal can be the best bartender of the world. That's right, and you need to keep it on your mind. But that's a long term goal. That's not nothing that you're gonna make from one day to another one. But if besides of that big goal, you have a small steps goals, it will be great. Like my goal on that time was just have a shift as a barback.
Mm-hmm.
So after one
Time.
month, yeah, after 1 month, the guy told me, okay, yeah, you're gonna have 3 shifts as a barback. Perfect. My next goal every morning thinking on my mind was have my first shift as a bartender in the United States. That for me was it looks stupid because I was already been bartending for like 50 years, but it still was very exciting. I said like finally I'm gonna see how he's making money on the States as a bartender. I'm behind a bar in the United States that is totally different than other countries. Um, that was the mindset. Even when I was jumping already on the bar, it comes off bad times because you're gonna see it sometimes besides of the seasons, here you have good and bad as always in your life. And even that I was doing my first steps as a bartender, it comes a bad time that I lost my job for the day close, and I need to go and look around for everything. So I need to go to wash cars and sometimes working on the beach. Working on the beach is a very heavy work. Is
Okay, I thought it's fun, you are in the sun, you see the sea, you see the girls in bikinis,
you
everything.
need to be very early because you need to be ready before the people goes for the beach. And some people really wake up very early to go to the beach. Some people wake up on the hotel. If I'm on a hotel on vacations, I never wake up until like 10. No, it's people that wake up at 7 to breakfast and go to the beach. At 7, you need to have already all your setup ready. So you need to be there on the sunrise to set up all your bar or your beach and be ready to sell. Then work all day under the sun. It's very hard climate, especially during the summer that I was working there during August, September, the hottest time of the year.
Now
It's
it's
very
okay.
it's
It's
very strong. Yeah, believe me. Now I'm white. I was like dark all over. I was spending more money on sunscreen than on everything. I think I spent like a bottle a week or less. But my mindset every morning was put some good music that give me energy and think on the goal. The goal is go back to the bars, make more money. But on the time, my goal for every day was selling good amount of chairs So it wasn't my job. It was an option. The owner of the business told me, you sell the cabanas, I pay you an hourly, and if you have a very good sales, I can give you some extra, but that's it. But he told me, but you have here hotels, you can sell food from the hotels and drinks. Well, drinks doesn't supposed to be allowed on the beach, but sometimes. So at some point, I have three menus from three different hotels. That was a very long trip, and I sell food from everyone. And the people say like, oh, but that hotel is like far away. So don't worry, you order, I bring it on time. If I bring it on time, give me tip, and the people love it. And I was running for that beach like crazy, picking up orders. In doesn't matter. Some people ask for two different, so you need to go for. It was crazy, but it's a good time to learn about everything. I need to go and back and be like a server and do it right and doing a different climate, totally different. No restaurant, no shoes, no. That's flip flops or your feet directly on the sand and run all over with food. Has the same complaints like if you were serving in a fine dining.
Mm.
The people doesn't like the burger. They think that the fries are cold. It's the same thing. Even that they are riding a beach that
Yeah,
doesn't support.
yeah.
But it was good. It's it's like when you have a, a precious stone or something. You need to polish all the wrong corners. It's like an ice when you love to put ice.
Yes.
When you get to do the form, you need to be patient, polish some of the parts. And it was very good. I have a very good relationship with my bosses. They love it. I did it until I get a formal work as a bartender because sometimes I have like one night in a nightclub. So I go and I do good money. Well, it was one night. It wasn't something short. So I need to go back to my job, even if that night I made $300. And the next day I don't know if I'm gonna get to for the food. So I have to
Yeah.
keep having my job, and only until when I get a very formal job as a bartender for full time, I can get out from the from the from the beach. But was again a good lesson. So I think all this I feel close to that. It's like trying to take out always the best of the situation. It's like right now. Right now, for you, you are home. I'm at home most of the time. The options of work you and me know they're very small. I think are in my country everywhere, and but you need to figure out a way to take the best of this. The best of this is this: keep the communication with your friends and learn from each other, because that's the other thing. Never stop learning, and I never stop learning from you, from the other bartenders that work with me, for me, yeah, or I work for. I work for another bartenders that maybe have even less experience than me, but that doesn't mean that I cannot learn from them. You remember that I used to work in Casa Florida too, and the owner of Casa Florida, and of course the sometimes barman and everything, is a bartender that has maybe 5 years experience. He starts and when he knows me, he was my prep bartender. He used to do the prep for my chief bartender in another restaurant. And then he jumps to be my boss because he's the owner of the place. It doesn't, the most important is about learning each other, about how he treats, what he do right, what I do wrong, what I can fix it, what he can fix it, and help each other. And during this time, this season, with all this situation around, the most important is keep our heads up, keep showing support one of each other, because we all can have good and bad times. Some people are more tend to have depression or low self-esteem or bad moments for different reasons, even for personal problems in your family or whatever. All this is a very tension moment for
Mm,
everybody.
yeah,
And
definitely.
you are worried. I think you are worried about your family on Lithuania. I'm worried about my father. but maybe I know how to handle better, or maybe you know how to handle better, and maybe another person that you think that has everything solved is not that way. So I think that's something that is very, very important right now. Is that keep supporting each other, keep pushing each other, because when all this ends, I think it's gonna come with something very positive for everybody, especially for us in the industry. We are the industry that is most heated right now. We go above any other industry three, four times hit it hard than before. The closest industry to us was losing in the first month 90 millions when we are losing on the hospitality industry 320 millions in the first month. Nowadays, one on every four persons in the United States used to work in the hospitality industry, so it's that one on four that doesn't have pretty much job right now.
Mm.
But then I think it's maybe I don't know how it's on your country. In my countries, in Colombia or where I used to live on Panama or something, the people used to pull apart, not to work each other. And one thing that I really, really, really love, and I'm really, really grateful for being on the States and being here in Miami especially, is that the industry is very, very supportive. I have you calling me to do these things. This is the second time that we do a talk. Like
Yeah.
it's great that you think me because I'm your friend or because you know me or because of my friends or whatever. But it's great because you take care of me. You ask me, you text me once in a while. I text you once in a while. It's the same with all the other bartenders I used to work. And besides of that, the brands they're always trying to take care of you. I think Herradura take care of you, take care of me, some
Yeah,
Mixis,
we
everyone. They Hardly Diana pass around, somebody Javier pass around. Hey, how are you? They text me. Hey, Santi, how are you doing? It's everything good. And they support us with many. I think the thing is, of course, with this is being so long that they are running low on options and a budget, but they are trying the best. Hey, they doing competitions for the last 3 4 months every week. You see, and many kind of competitions. Do your cocktail, do your pose, do a video, do a live,
yeah,
paint.
yeah.
Yeah, Montenegro was doing paint your new bottle of Montenegro. Van Gogh was doing something. It's amazing how much support you can see, how much love you can receive from people that works for you or that works with you. For me, are all pretty much my family. I don't, as I told you, my only family is my father. Is not here, unfortunately. So for me, all you are my family, and you give me your best. And that's the best thing that I can take from this. How much I learn from this. I see you on your videos every time you do your cocktails, and it's very funny. I love your videos because you all. I think we all have the same patterns. So I realize when I'm doing my videos, my lives or my stories, that even if I think I always do it pretty much in the same way, it is funny. I love the day that you start always just this is my cocktail. I love it. This is amazing. That's your brand. This is yours. I love it. I love it. It's something that makes you you. So
Thank you, Santi.
yeah, I really see how much you can grow and how successful you can be here because I see your interest in this, in start with somebody, in learn from everybody, and knowing somebody, and I think that brings us the best for all. For all, I think this situation being overwhelming, anyways, is is kind of hard because it's the surviving of the strongest. Definitely, I think.
Well,
Uh,
just to know, just
but
to hope that you, like, I mean, just to hope that you are that strong one. Actually, if this is a situation to prove yourself, if you're that strong enough that you thought you are, if you fought like that, if you didn't thought that you're strong, then it's much tougher, I guess, if you already, don't think like that. But yeah, that's true. uh, Santi, I wanted to come back a little bit and to talk a little bit about competitions that you have been in, because now we got already to these days, so I want to go a little bit back and also talk about the competitions. uh, more or less how many did you do, and what was the highest ranking ones, and actually the last would be what did you learn from all the competitions?
The competitions are something I was talking in the last days with somebody. I think was Guido, the chef, or something. I was talking about that. Competitions are something very important, demands a lot of your time and a lot of your interest. I didn't remember the number. I think I maybe did like around 10 competitions, or
Mhm.
maybe more, maybe less. No, less I don't think so, but maybe more, but not so
Okay.
much more. I made three, three sets to work class. I never been in the full work class in the World Cup for
Hmm.
another reasons outside of my hands. I made very good spots, two second spots on those three competitions. The first ones was, of course, I don't remember. I finished fourth, third, not so far. Then
Okay, that's good,
the next
definitely.
the next two, I made second spot.
That's very good.
The order, the first one was like third or fourth spot, and the second one I get second with my best grasshopper winning me. Was a kid that I trained for 2 years as a bartender.
Ah, okay, so so it's also kind of winning, yeah, because like
Everybody was very worried about how I feel, and actually, I was feeling so good and so proud. Still, I'm very proud of that.
definitely, definitely.
This everybody said like, "How do you feel?" I feel like perfect because it's definitely the demonstration that I did a good work. Actually, he competed against me like twice or three times before, and he lost the other times. But so because we compete first for a one Finlandia Cup, and that Finlandia Cup was made online, and we never get it. No one know him, no me. I finished on a better spot than him, but we never made it. Then we did bowls around the world. That was online application. We made it to the third. I don't know if you know that goes for by steps, by waves. So we made the first wave. We jumped to the second wave. We jumped to the third wave. That was the hardest one with a video. And I ended up once on top of him, and then he ended up in once on top of me. So we both winning as a Latin America. At that point, was Latin America winner or something like that, but we never made to the World Cup because they select then one by continent, and I think America or Canada goes against us,
Oh yeah.
yeah, or something like that. And then, so we did the world class. On between of those, we do the Finlandia one. I finish on top of him, but we don't go for the World Cup. And then the second one for the Finlandia Cup, I made it, and that was the ones that I win in to go to the World Cup.
Wow,
That
cool.
was, I don't remember if I think 7 years ago, if I'm
Okay.
not wrong. That's my best position ever. And I go, then you see, I saw two kind of persons at that competition that is very important to remark on this. One of those persons was very, very, very focused on the competition. I think that's good. It's okay. It's respectable. That the person goes like, I need to win, I need to win, I need to win. But also it's experience. And if you go with that mentality, sometimes you don't enjoy. He really wasn't enjoying. He goes directly to do. He was going to the bed as early as he came. He was reading, and at some point when you go for a World Cup, they made so much effort to make you have a great time that it's good if you win, but if you don't win you can enjoy it and you can learn so much from the people that surrounds you that it makes even more sense. It was my World Cup when I was meeting bartenders with all different styles. All was totally different. I
Yeah,
have from
definitely.
Latin America. I have people from Europe. And when you see it, it was so crazy how everyone thinks in a different way, how everyone sees and how everyone works in different way. In my competition, you can see since a regular simple cocktail to a something very elaborate that was a molecular. That at that point, and I never liked it so much molecular, and at that point was already pretty much done. But still, some guy decided to do molecular in the final,
Why
and
not?
it
Yeah.
was interesting. And that was the first time that I tried Bacherovka from my fellow partner from Slovakia. No, from Czech Republic. He brings a bottle of Bacherovka. I never seen that before, so that was great. So in the was another one that he was saying, like, I don't care, I don't worry about anything, I just want to enjoy the time. That's good, but of course you also want to do it something right because you win a spot, you try to make your best. So I think I made it right because I really enjoy the time. We go out and we have very fun in many ways. We go on
I can
those
imagine. Yeah.
yes, those motorcycles, the saunas, the all the activities are great. The seminars was very good, and then we go the competitions. The mostly some of those competitions there always have the 3 or 4 different steps. One of them is always something that is a tricky, like a surprise box
Hmm.
cocktail. Hate it. It's
Yeah.
terrible. It's terrible. It sucks. I've never been very good for that. Sometimes you have the lucky shot that it's something that comes in the box. It's something that makes a lot of sense for you, or you can come back from that. For me, on the elimination on the country, it was very good. When I go on the World Cup, it wasn't actually so bad. It was like 80 or something countries. So I finished like, well, and that on the surprise box, I finished, I think, 14. That was my worst spot on the competition. So actually, it's not bad because it's like half in above. So it's
Yeah.
pretty good.
Definitely. Yeah.
But still, I feel terrible. I think like, oh, it's terrible. I didn't even make the top 10. And that was my first, that was the first spot that we did on the competition. Was the first one was the surprise. So it
Oh.
catch me off and like, no, this was terrible. When I
Ah,
see guys amazing, amazing. I think I don't remember if he was from Lithuania. I was remember was another guy, uh, very young, so much that spark to make something that he made a very nice because it was a punch in a sauna bucket. You put the water for the sun. How it's
okay.
supposed to be a punch there. Super nice, but you need to make the garnish and you make to serve 5 portions and garnish the punch and garnish the glass.
Yeah.
That is on 7 minutes. It's crazy. It's crazy. I saw a lot of things that I never saw before. Now I recognize a lot. But I remember totally that I go. It was like a little market. So you go and you can pick up. I don't remember. I think 7 ingredients besides the main liquor.
Hmm.
Oh, there was something at that point I never see sage in my life, and I saw like I'm gonna use something that I never use. I'm gonna try it. It wasn't so bad, but it wasn't so good. And, and you normally have another when you show the recipes that you already know, or maybe a classic, and then your creations. On those ones, I was much better. We made the other ones, and I made the second one was around the top 10, like a 9 or something. That was a martini, was supposed to be a aperitif. It
Yeah.
was a, we
The
did
better.
a, I said I made a green guava martini. And then my best spot was a long drink that is probably the best drink that I ever made. Still, still I think it's maybe the best drink that I ever made. It's a long drink with mango, basil, a few things more, and it's very balanced. It takes me like around 3 months to balance that cocktail. I really take seriously that part.
All right.
It
All right.
was Yeah, that was very good. It's still, like I told you, it's my favorite drink. Normally, I drink more right now, more spirit forward drinks. But if you ask me for my favorite long drink, it still is the drink that I made. That it actually makes me feel so proud because before I made a lot of long drinks that was terrible. It's chubby.
I
And
feel you. I feel
I was, yeah, during the early 2000s, we never used so much fresh things. So we used to do just mixing liquors from flavors. It was everything tastes like plastic. Now you can make much other things.
oh, now
So,
so much change, so much change, even in my 10, 11 years career. Yeah, yeah.
exactly. So, so that drink it comes in fourth place of the world. I'm very proud of that. And between those numbers, I ended up number one of the whole Americas. Second one, I think second one was United States or no, United States comes like fourth or fifth, and then it comes Puerto Rico, Venezuela, Nicaragua, all the countries that goes from the Latin America. So I first in the Americas and number 12 of the world. But actually, for me, was pretty decent. I feel pretty good. Yeah, I feel
Yeah,
pretty good. Eh,
it's
It was. I have another. I don't remember. They made me another nine spot for something, but I don't remember. But was that was maybe one of the best experiences. The running against the time, the pressure is very good. The whole experience is amazing. The brands really take care of you in those competitions. That's amazing because you travel, you learn so much. They introduce you to another bartenders. They introduce you to another cultures, and that's the main winning. That's the main winning. You learn so much that you can imagine. And then I did the other work class. I finished second in the other one, but that was kind of tricky. We have a little disagreement with the IO on that. Then we fixed the things, but now was too late because at that point when I was about to get into my third work class to try to win it, I decided to pull out and then I moved to the States. That was the year that I moved to the States.
okay.
That mostly them they said that that was my year to go on the World Cup. I would love to. Still, I finished with very good friends from the things that I did on the work class because they bring some people to train us, especially the ambassadors. The global ambassador for Kettle One is a amazing guy, and the global ambassador for Johnny Walker. I don't know if he's the global or if the I think it's the Latin America or the global ambassador from Johnny Walker. There are two amazing guys. One is Arturo Savage for Johnny Walker,
No,
that's all part. And the other one is Paulo Figueiredo, who is the global ambassador for Kettle One, but he trains me on Don Julio and Kettle One. He did something with Zacapa. I met Miss Lorena Vasquez. I think you know her, the master blender
yeah,
from
yeah.
Zacapa. You remember? So that brings me much in that situation about the people that I knew and what I learned from them than much everything else. I did another small competition. I remember we made someone with Chivas like 10 years ago, was something more local. Another one with Australian vodka, 42 below.
Australian vodka.
Yeah, that was more. Remember that on the early in the 90s and the early 20s was more a vodka thing
Yeah,
everywhere.
yeah, yeah. That's okay.
Vodka was
Santi,
main spirit. Everything.
Santi, what is the one thing? I mean, you get a lot of from competitions. Actually, I didn't tell this nobody yet, but officially or whatever, I'm writing a book as well. You know, all this time in quarantine, you know, a lot of time. I just decided to write a book on competitions because I really did a lot. So I won't tell how many did I do, not yet, you know, because now I counted all of them. You know, I researched all my competitions because it took a long time to get all the information because I forgot so many things. So I went through everything and I think I got all of them. Anyway, it's not about me. I just know that there is a lot of that to get from competitions. So, but what is one or two, if you have two most important things that you lessons or things that you can bring from the competitions, actually from participating in a competitions as a bartender?
I really think that the main thing right now for you compete as a bartender in a competition is, well, I think always gonna be your approach to their guests, because mostly all the time your judges on the competitions gonna see you, they're gonna feel or they're gonna try to feel as a customer. As a,
Santi, this is not the point I'm asking. I'm asking maybe better for, like, let's say it's for bartenders. Like you see, I believe that bartenders who never competed will be watching this podcast, because it will stay. And now, why should they go to the competition? Maybe that's what.
why?
Yeah,
Okay, why?
one most
Well,
important.
definitely the experience that goes in not only about the experience of the trip by itself. It's the experience about the people that you're gonna meet and the things that you're gonna learn. It's definitely that's the most important. The second point that you said that one or two, the second point is gonna be how to uh, every time that you compete, you're gonna definitely gonna improve something on your presentation. Definitely, you're gonna learn. Then you're gonna see back and say like, oh, I made this mistake. I put this first, and I'm supposed to do this. Or so it makes your mindset works like a Swiss clock with the
Mm,
time. You start learning that okay, for next time I'm gonna put my ingredients on this way, because if I put it on this way, it's not the same.
mhm,
So going into competitions is really gonna make you better for next competitions, but also it's gonna make you better to work even behind your bar. It
okay.
makes you much more stable, organized, um, to work. You became more proper, because when you have limited time, you realize how is the real proper setup to make the things better and faster. It's not only about the speed, because in these competitions nowadays it counts the drops, it counts the organization, the cleanliness, everything. So on the point that you want to put that in the future in a bar that you manage, or that you run, or you just bartend, it's
Mm,
gonna make it more clear. If you know how it works, I like to think have the things on the same spot all the time. Is why, because I try to work the most organized, moving the less, and it makes you more uh, productive in
mhm.
many ways. So it definitely the experience goes the why to go for tourists. One, learning, it's knowledge. The experience comes with knowledge. You learn from the other bartenders, you learn from the experience, you learn from the competition, you learn from the brands, you learn from everything. That's the first thing, knowledge. And second one, yeah, that is mark about become you more uh, exact on your things. It's definitely it makes you help be more accurate, more. It's, you definitely become best bartender when you compete, because it push you to the limit. So
Yeah.
that's very it's
All
very
right.
important.
Okay. Very good points. Very good points. Thank you for sharing. And Santi, what do you think are the, let's say, three, one, two, three, depends how many it will pop up in your head, things that separates good bartender from great bartender?
Wow.
One, two or
Definitely,
three things. What?
definitely. It's some things are very easy. Definitely for me, the first thing, the difference a good bartender from a great bartender, service.
Okay.
Service. It's customer service. It's understand that no matter how good you are, no matter how good is your product, your cocktail or your food or your bar, and no matter how much knowledge you have, no matter whatever, the best thing is how your guest or customer, because some people, you said customer, it's a guest. You need to treat it as you're inviting in your house. No, it still is a job. And the people doesn't go to your bar because they want to feel in your house. No, they want to feel in a bar. So it's
They
still
would
a
stay at
customer.
home and hire a bartender at home.
Right. The people a little sometimes goes a little bit too much on that small line. Oh, it's because you use this word. You use this. That doesn't make any difference at the end. Then what it matters is how you treat them. You don't need to treat them like, oh, I say I'm gonna treat it like my family. Maybe the guest doesn't want that. The guest doesn't want that you put your hand on his shoulder or you touch him. No, no, no. But the service by itself, great service, always a smile, uh, always treated like with a lot of respect and create the confidence. It's not you cannot be the joke or the joker or the clown all the time. But yeah, they go to fun and enjoy. But it depends. You need to know how to manage because that has a small lines. If the person is with a date and it's very maybe very personal, very inter because I love to go on the bars with my girlfriend or when I'm dating with some girl and sit and have at that time together on the bar. I like to talk with the bartender, but sometimes I'm enjoying just with that person. So you need to know how to learn that signals and respect that space. You can still do a joke, but you can know when is option, when is good. So for me, always is service. So make the people feel very welcome, make the people feel very well attended, make the people feel important in the way that they feel like I feel that this person really respect me and really give me the importance that I think I do. It doesn't matter how he looks or whatever, how whatever they like.
Okay.
So for me, the first thing is service, definitely. Second thing, I will go back again for knowledge. Knowledge is many things. I think the people love when then when they know or they see that you know, especially. Um, you don't need to know all the cocktails. You don't need to know all the liquors, but you need to know the basics, especially about what you have in your bar. Maybe in most of your bars and our bars, we don't want to have everything that we know. But if you have knowledge, just know if the people that come and ask you for something and you don't maybe have, I always said that try to never say no. I think it's a bad word in many ways. You need to say no in other things in life, but in the bar, in the service, you try to don't say no. And instead of that, use an option. Instead of
Just
like, no, we don't know. You said like, unfortunately, I can offer you something. Oh no, fortunately, I can offer you something different because unfortunately, I don't have that, but I can offer you this. And you need to be a seller. Somebody, another, a few days, some months ago, it makes in a post that I did. I think about one of my talks. It was exactly complaining about that I was using the word customer instead of guest, and that I was telling that that person, that the bartender needs to be a upseller and a salesperson. Oh no, you need to be just a great guest. You need to make it. Yes, but when I'm as a owner of the place hire you, I didn't hire you to have a gathering of your friends at the bar. I hire you to sell. If you don't sell, I don't make money, I cannot pay you. If you don't sell, you don't make tips and you don't pay your rent. So you
yeah.
don't gonna be happy. So you always need to think on the business also. So you need to be the knowledge give you that option. The knowledge give you it's not the potential about that I know everything. You know what I mean? It's not that I know everything and you are not. No, it's the way how you do. Like, okay, Mister, I don't have that way that if somebody come and ask you for a bourbon, I don't have that bourbon, and I maybe I push you to a Scotch. It doesn't make sense unless you make it make sense in some way. But if not, He said, I don't have that one, but I have Woodford or I have Rabbit Hole. Yeah. Oh, why? Because this is very good for this or this reason. Yeah. Or
Yes.
we, yeah, is in the knowledge on the cocktails. The person that's from Manhattan, Mister, I don't have, for some reason, I don't have bourbon right now. But if you definitely want to go whiskey and you like this stuff, I think we can do a twist, we can do it a rubber with a scotch. You just need to have the knowledge to explain why are you doing that or why are you pushing that. So knowledge is, and the knowledge goes in your culture. Every time you read, every time you learn, you grow. You grow as a person. You grow in your ways to man, in your manners, and the respect, and it not. It's like it notice on you when you grow, when you learn. It reflects on you automatically in the way that you behave, the way that you respond. So that's maybe the second most important. Third one, it comes and goes with different things because on the knowledge you have the knowledge of the cocktails and everything. Technique is very important, but I think that goes on the knowledge. So maybe that will be more your personality. I think the people like the people that has personality. You don't expect to go. That's why maybe you and me we always gonna fight against those robots that do drinks. You cannot fuck with a robot. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
No,
He doesn't know when you say like, I want it with a little bit, not so much, kind of. No, the robot doesn't gonna understand that. He knows measure. So if I go to the bar, I always like to go and talk and find what is the person that is serving me. What is if you are the kind of a very funny talk or more tired or very still you need to be like a people person.
a personal.
Exactly. The personality makes a big difference. And if you go and check some of the finals in many of the competitions that are very important, the personality of the bartenders makes a big difference.
That
Um,
that I saw in the world class, for example, the finals. It's like I'm watching like that, and like thinking like, wow,
exactly. How they go to that exactly? If you see, by example, two or three examples that I love. So one is the flip, the resurrection flip from that was with Zacapa with Tim Phillips, like 2014 or
Mhm.
16, something like that. Is the way that he talked to Mr. Watanabe, and he's playing the cocktail. It's really a show, but the way that he presents himself, he
Don't
looks
you-
very serious, and it's very surprising. And he looks a very serious person. When he did that, that I really recommend all your followers to check it out. That is the Resurrection Flip. It's one
Red
of the most
flip. Okay.
resurrection flip. I know that it's on YouTube. It's a video of the cocktail that he made. And actually, that cocktail makes him win the World Cup because it's very surprising
Oh,
with Phillips. And that's one of the finals that I said like, okay, and you didn't really expect that it shows his personality because at the end it's a joke, it's something funny different. And
I
because he was presenting to this, no, it wasn't Watanabe, was it the Sugo Uno, the Japanese ex-champion, was joining you. And Japanese are very professional, very tight.
that is
So it's really discomposed, make the guys like, what is happening? I think that shows a lot. Or some other very good example, more newer, is the last presentation of a Valentino Longo in the most imaginative bartender because he shows you another side of his personality and how he see the things through his lens of his camera,
Mhm.
focusing also on his love for his wife, for Georgia, that you know her from the Grappa,
Mhm.
and and it's another kind of personality. He's one of the person that you will really love always how he treats you. His service is so charm. but he shows another kind of view and he introduced you in a history. So I tell you that definitely the personality of the bartender makes a big difference. I always say that if you serve a glass of water with the right attitude, you're a seller. Because that person's gonna sit and after that water gonna buy you maybe your most expensive drink or whatever, or it's gonna come back. It's just because the way that you did it. It most more than the product is the way that you present yourself. I think that makes a big difference. It makes a very big difference. I saw a lot of big mixologies that the attitude doesn't go to nowhere, and that's why maybe they don't want any competitions, or maybe they want a competition because they draw a drink or the presentation, but then they go on the bar and they're not somebody that the people really love, and we will go back to the places that we love.
Definitely. Yeah. Okay, thank you, Santiago, for this for sharing this points. Let's say I found this recorrection clip, Tim Phillips, and I think I saw it. I will watch after our podcast. I will put for those who watching or will be watching. I'll put it in the comments.
Okay.
I will put it in the comment, or I will put it in the description actually. So you don't need to find the comment somewhere when it might be, somewhere
Yeah.
gone. Santiago, for now, for wrapping everything up and finishing, wanted to just to ask you, what's your favorite cocktail?
Great question. You know that
What is
it's very
bartender?
it's very difficult. It's very difficult. Everybody asks that, and for me, it's a very hard choice. I think I have a cocktail for every situation.
Oh,
During this time, I was trying to learn and do more Italian bitter amados aperitif styles. So I was drinking more like amados with soda and vermouth and things like that. Very summer, very breezy.
okay.
I love excuse. I love a very good pina colada, but needs
Okay.
to be very good. Needs to be very well done. It
Uh,
doesn't have any mystery. It's just a few ingredients, but it's like the way
okay.
they make it with a fresh pineapple, nice coconut.
Can you share
Uh,
the good pineapple pina colada recipe now?
for me, it's quite simple.
All right.
I don't think that you need to add it so many things. For me, the fresh air that you can use the pineapple, of course, the best, but you always need to be careful about the sweetness. So mostly, for my best pina colada, I think I like it shaken on ice, not blend.
Okay.
You can blend it, but without the ice, so you can deconstruct totally the pineapple. Normally, I model the pineapple with some sugar, because if you don't add it a little bit, at least the sugar, they don't release the full flavor of the pineapple.
Oh, okay.
Normally, I use a few cubes of fresh pineapple with sugar, and then I add a little bit of pineapple juice. Or if I don't have pineapple juice, I add more pineapple and a little bit of water to create a juice. So it
Oh,
needs to be a little juicy. That point is when you can blend it without the ice if you don't want to have the parts of the fruit. I like parts of the fruit sometimes. Then a good coconut cream that you can make it mixing coconut water and coconut milk and adding some sugar, because the coconut cream normally comes some sweetness. Or you can use, I like to use normally Coco Real or Coco Lopez. That I like. And those two in a nice white rum. I like to use a little bit of dark rum, especially if it has some spices like angostura or plantation or something like that, a little funky flavor.
okay.
And, and if I have coconut rum, I can use a little bit to pump it up. I think it
Oh,
needs to be not as strong on flavor, but it needs to be like very flavory, very. So I use like one ounce and a half of the white rum, Or if I'm gonna use both, I maybe use 1 ounce of the white one and half ounce of the funky, the island rum, the spicy rum like plantation or something. And
Mhm.
then I use like a quarter of the Malibu or coconut rum that you have. Cruzan is pretty good too. And the juice and the it's like 5 pieces of pineapple for a dash of sugar and maybe 2 ounces of the pineapple juice and 1 ounce of coconut cream. And I like shake on ice. It looks for me more typical if you can serve in a pineapple nice or in a coconut even nicer. Uh, I think
Okay,
that's
cool.
very refreshing. I love tiki style drinks, as you know, as you see my church, my tattoos, everything. And then I have nights, especially on the nights for like a tapas. I like spirit forward drinks. Like old fashioned is one of my favorites, and Negronis
Oh,
definitely I love gin.
Ronnie,
But
favorite.
it's very yeah. I think the drink depends on your mood. Uh, Depends on all the whole situation. I think you need to have variations. Sometimes it's a day just for a whiskey on the rocks. It depends. It depends on you. But I like those drinks, especially pina colada was the favorite drink of my mom, and I hated so for so long because it was that time was just bad mixers of pina colada mixers, and I didn't know a very good recipe. So it takes me a few times to make a very good pina colada, and I realized that is one of the things that we can talk about the competitions is I really believe that sometimes less is more. So for me, a good pina colada is less in it. Some people put like uh, condensed milk, bitters. No, I like El Macule bitters in my piñas coladas sometimes, but it's not a requisite. For me, the simple, the best. So sometimes.
I never tried this recipe that you told, so I'll look forward to make it.
I I have one on my Instagram a little bit back on one of my cocktail cultures, and it's also on my website. I go and a friend did it one very good one with the macule bitters, and it was in a pineapple glass. Looks very nice. So
Oh,
that's also presentation makes some
oh,
things very nice, you know.
yeah, I would really need to try this pina colada because it's a great drink. Actually, it's great. Even people think that it's more like, at least in Lithuania, people think it's more like woman drink, But in my career, what I've seen, so it's more men like this drink than women. So I
I
always say cocktails doesn't have sex. I was looking the glass of the cocktail, I didn't see those attributes for any sex.
exactly. No, no, I think I always said to when somebody come and tell me like, no, that's a woman drink. I said, okay, sit it, buy me five, and if you can walk outside in one perfectly after five of those, you can tell me that it's a woman drink. Nobody resists five of those. And that thing is crazy. It's like a martini, but with most mixer. So
Yeah,
yeah, I don't believe on woman drink. I think that every drink has his person, and
definitely.
yeah, it's a matter, it's a situation thing. So it's not like that.
Okay, and Santiago, I'm always interested in this question as well. It's the last question for our podcast today. Uh, so what would you really like to do? No, I'm joking. No, no, I'm joking. But it's similar. What would you do if you wouldn't do bartending? I mean, uh,
That's
not
that's
not
a very that's a
not
very tricky question.
not
But
hospitality industry at all, except maybe, but not so. If you choose something like what you like to do else, or is there something that, like, let's say
maybe
you can't do bartending or serving, or like, what is really
maybe
called bartending? What would you do?
maybe this will surprise you, but if I have the option, and it was something like to choose fast without thinking. One
Let's.
thing is one thing that I will go back and I will love to maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is something that I dream all my life and I never can do it like really. Is the first thing if I choose fast something that I will do back and I will it will be happy is to go back to the military life.
Oh, okay.
That will be something that I will do nicely. I will go back to the Marines and the Navy, and I will like to stay in that. I like the experience. Was very good in his moment. Was a choice that I take to go out. I don't want to tell you that I didn't regret, especially like after 6 months. I thought like, oh, what I did. Nowadays, I don't regret. I think every uh, decision was good, but that was good. That was a good idea. And if you don't think in something like a dream that I always had, I used to run a little bit run race cars, but
Oh, really?
I never can do it like in professional way. So if that was something that I can choose, I will definitely race cars. I will love to. I would
Really?
love to.
I
Yes,
know
I
that
love.
you didn't, uh, had the clue that to be like that. All
Yeah,
right.
I used to race very small stock cars, like things like a Toyota Yaris, something like that. That
Okay.
time was the Suzuki Swift. That was
Okay.
the car we used to race. And that was very long time ago. I would love to go back to race
Fast
cars.
and Furious. Fast and Furious. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
yeah.
Santiago, actually, one more question. I'm going to push you a little bit, because I know you are writing a book, and so now we will tell officially, more or less. So you will be getting more pushing to really do the book, to really, don't procrastinate, or delay or something. So when can we expect your book? Until when, and you
God,
can't say until 2025 doesn't count, No, you have to say
God,
normal deadline.
you got me because I told you that I was supposed to have it for the end of September.
Yes, yes, that's what I know. But now I want you, to say that yourself.
I'm trying to at least have it ready for that time to jump into the edition and all that situation. So I will think that I'm gonna try to have it before the end of the year, fully ready, printed and everything.
Okay.
I'm still writing. I'm still studying. I'm still learning. It's a lot of things to do, and it comes with a lot of ideas. So every time I want to put it this, in this. So it's a little bit tricky, but because also you cannot go so big.
It will be
But
another
I
book, that's
no,
what I was.
I'm pushing to try to keep it ready to have it ready printed and everything for before the end of the year.
Okay.
I would
Yeah.
love to have it before, but I cannot tell you if that's gonna happen because we already start August. We still delayed on the process, especially because I know that the edition part also is gonna be a little bit long. All the design is on the progress, but it still take us time to have all this reading part to get
Yeah.
fit on, and then our subject we are curating some pictures. We still have some pictures to take that is with all this situation also delay because I
Yeah.
cannot go for a bar and take a picture from my friends because they are not in the bars, and that's also delaying some of the process. But
Okay.
we think that maybe we want to try to have it for before the end of the year. I will hope to.
Okay, so now we have you officially said that before the year 2020, just
Yeah,
assure
yeah, yeah,
which
yeah.
year we are in,
We want to start the season, the new year with something already on the
All
market.
right. So okay, so already who wants could buy this book for present for somebody
Yeah,
for New Year.
yeah, for Christmas or something like that. We'd love to have it ready for Christmas.
Yeah, good, very good. So now we have it official. Okay, Santiago. So I want to thank you very much for joining my podcast. Actually, it is my first podcast on my channel.
Very well.
On my because the one we did it's different conditions, but This we did like for YouTube channel, and you are the first person who I'm interviewing or like listening more, because and it was really a pleasure. And thank you very much for sharing your experience, because 22 years is really a lot. And as I say, most people might not even be that old as your experience is, you know. So I hope they got inspired how listening by your way, and how hard it was, and all those ups and downs. And you know, now it's also kind of down, you know, like or harder situation. So you always have to smile, never lose your focus, and that's the most important thing. And give a great service, smile, try to be try to do the best for a customer, to feel good, to feel not like at home. I'm just wrapping up what I took from this conversation, you know, but just to feel him really appreciated and respected. That's what I understood, you know. And that's how you will become the great bartender. And when you're a great bartender, you have more opportunities than just to be a good bartender, I guess.
Yeah.
So thank you very much, Santiago, and I will leave your contacts in the description of this video. So guys, please go there and follow Santiago on his other social media networks, and keep in touch. You can always ask him questions, watch his work, hire him for your events, actually hire for a consultation, because you know, if you're having a restaurant or planning a restaurant, or kind of this business. So Santiago has 22 years of experience, and from different countries. So that's also a big thing, because you can bring things together from different perspectives. So thank you very much, Santi, for being my guest, and all the best for you. And we are waiting your book in a couple of months, basically. Yeah, it's okay. 4 months, let's say. Maximum 4.5 months left. When now you said it officially, you know, and people who will listen this podcast, so we will know, you know, and will follow you, and will expect that, you know.
Now you compromise me even more. Thank you very much, Ice, for the invitation. Very honored to be your first guest. That's very important. I hope you give me this video so I can put it also on my YouTube channel. And I would love to help you and everyone that it can needs in something that I can do with my experience or my little knowledge and everything that I can do. So very pleasure. That was a very great talk. Thank you. Thank you very much for everything.
Okay, thank you. Bye,
Bye bye.
everybody. Bye.